What's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of the Tampa Bay Real Producers Podcast. This, of course, is the podcast that is made for real producers, by real producers, and with none other than Tampa Bay's real producers. And today, we get to hang out with Marina Kloppel. How are you doing, Marina?
I'm doing wonderful. How are you?
Yeah, I'm doing great. Thank you for being here. Excited to have you as our guest today. Some of you might know Marina's story a little bit if you've been following Tampa Bay Real Producers magazine. We did feature you in that back in, I was kind of amazed that it was all the way back from September of 2022.
I know.
That over a year ago, almost 2 years ago now, that we featured Marina and her story was told. But we're going to dive into that story a little bit more detail today, and I'm sure there'll be some nuggets here that will help agents in learning from Marina's story on how to be able to grow your business as well. Marina was just sharing with me off camera that she had her best year ever this past year in 2023, which is impressive considering many agents out there did not, right? And Marina did. So we'll talk about that as well. But why don't we start with just your background and your story. So did you grow up in Tampa Bay? If not, how'd you get here? And eventually, how'd you get into real estate?
Well, no, my accent kind of gives me away that I didn't grow up in the South. I grew up in Australia.
Nice.
And I come from a small town a couple hours north of Sydney in Newcastle, Maitland. Great wine growing area.
Beautiful.
So I grew up on the ocean. So that's why I was really drawn to Tampa as well, is that I love being on the water. But when in Australia, I was an officer in the Australian Army for 15 years. Yeah, I was in the first class of women to graduate Royal Military College.
Very cool.
Which is the same as West Point.
Now, is Australia similar to like Israel where everybody goes through that for any years, or it's totally voluntary?
It's totally voluntary. Okay. I knew from the age of 12 that I wanted to join the Army.
Okay.
And
was that in the family at all, or?
No.
Just had a desire for it, huh?
Yeah.
Nice.
I just had that calling.
Nice.
And so I joined the Army as soon as I could, pretty much, and was accepted Royal Military College.
Nice.
And I spent 15 years as an officer in the Army. And on a military exercise in Australia, there was like 20,000 Marines there, Marines as well as soldiers, sailors, airmen from America. Huge exercise, tandem thrust. And that's where I had met my husband. And
romance started, huh?
It did.
He was a Marine?
He was a Marine,
nice.
Yeah. So we got married and I moved to America. And
was he American?
Yes. He was an American Marine. Okay. And we had two beautiful daughters, and while they were growing up, I got my teaching credential, went back to school, and I taught preschool. And then after that, in 2013, when the girls were older and in high school, I did what I've always had a passion for, is houses. And so I got my real estate license then.
Did you ever do any real estate in Australia?
Only buying and selling my own.
Gotcha. Like investment property and stuff?
Yeah. Okay. I've owned property in Australia, so I understood the system, how it worked there, which is very different to here.
Okay. Yeah, we'll talk about that. I'd like to hear some of the differences. But when you were living in Australia, did you ever think you'd be moving to America and running a business here?
No. I lived in London for a year, and I traveled a lot because, as Australians. Well, no, just because I'm Australian, and we like to
you like to see the world.
We like to see the world, and we like to live in London and work in a bar, and and all that sort of stuff. So
I've never been to Australia, but it's on my bucket list. I want to check out, of course, Sydney, and it just looks beautiful from what you see. So I would look forward. It's a long flight, though, huh?
Well, yeah,
it's not an easy
Dallas,
one.
Texas, because you fly Qantas, of course.
Yeah,
and so it's a 16-hour flight from Dallas, and it's over the ocean, so it is a little bit. Like, hope
well, I've flown to Argentina. That's about the same. Straight south, all the way down there. So I can bear it.
Yeah, and it's really quite comfortable. You watch a movie, go to sleep, and you wake up and you're in Sydney.
So did you guys move right to Florida after you got married and came up?
No. He was at Quantico, so we got married in Virginia, and so we lived in Virginia for 4 years, and then we went to San Diego for 4 years.
Oh, wow.
And then he was posted to MacDill, and we were like, we want to go back to Virginia. Our house is there. I've got, lots of friends that live in Virginia. I had a lot of contacts. And because my first year when I was here, I was still in the Australian Army on leave. So I was managed by the Australian Embassy in DC. So I had friends there. So we really wanted to go back to DC.
Yeah.
So when we came to Tampa, I was like, oh.
You weren't
really?
excited about it, huh?
No, we weren't. And we came for a house hunting trip.
Did you say that was in 2013 that you came here?
No, we actually came here in 2007.
Okay.
So, but
you just got licensed in 2013.
Yeah, I got licensed in 2013. But we came here in 2007, and we drove over Gulf to Bay, and we were like, this isn't too shabby.
Sure.
This is really nice.
Gives you a good perspective of Tampa Bay. Yeah.
Oh my God, we never left. He did actually 2 tours at MacDill, which is very unusual, 7 years, and then he retired after that. And so we never left. We just fell in love.
You didn't miss Virginia or San Diego after that, huh?
No. I was never a fan of San Diego, to tell you the truth.
Which is interesting. A lot of people say it's one of the most beautiful cities in America.
It is beautiful, but it doesn't hold a candle to Tampa.
Yeah.
Honestly, I've lived all over the world. I wouldn't live anywhere else but Dunedin.
Nice.
I love it there so much. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Because I had the chance to move back in 2017 back to Australia because we got divorced. And so it was a tough time, and my family wanted me to move back to Australia, and I was like, no.
I love my
this
community.
Is my home.
Yeah.
And my community. And I had such a strong
And your kids are all here, you said, right?
Yeah, both of my daughters are here.
They're in Dunedin as well?
One is the one who went to Florida State, my youngest. She actually just got her real estate license.
Oh,
and
nice.
She is joining my team.
Oh, that's cool. That's
So
awesome.
I'm super excited.
Very cool.
She's a mini me.
What's her name?
Sophie.
Sophie. Shout out to Sophie. She's newly licensed, you said? New agent?
Yes,
Nice.
yeah.
Hopefully you follow our stuff, Sophie. We have a lot of good content for you to help you grow your business.
Oh, she will for sure.
Yeah, no doubt. Absolutely. I look forward to meeting her one day.
Oh, absolutely.
Maybe we'll have her on the show as she grows her business.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And then my other daughter, she lives in Nebraska.
Okay.
She's a graduate of University in Nebraska. She's a Cornhusker.
Nice.
Whereas my other daughter,
A little different than Florida.
Yeah. Oh my God. When she first went there, I'm like, don't you know how cold it is in Nebraska?
And there's no water anywhere around.
Baby, you grew up in Florida. You're moving to Nebraska.
Yeah, she's
Are you
the
kidding
tough skin
me?
one, huh?
Yeah, she
Yes.
is. She's a tough cookie.
Right.
But she's a great girl. She's amazing.
That's cool.
Both of them are. I've been blessed.
That's awesome. So you live in Dunedin, you mentioned, right?
Yes.
And I was telling you off camera, I'm a huge fan of Dunedin as well. I love bringing our kid. I have 5 kids that are 9 or younger, and we love a lot of the community stuff that Dunedin does.
Yes.
And that's what I love about it. Is it feels like just I'm from New England. I grew up in Connecticut, and so there's a lot of kind of smaller towns up there. Everything is town focused in that Northeast, and I get that feeling when I'm in Dunedin. It's very community based and town focused, and feel like there's a lot of kind of that camaraderie and a lot of events that they do to kind of celebrate the local community in Dunedin. So is that what you love most about it too, or is there other things that really resonate with you?
It has a vibe that is just it's so laid back, but it's also just really just warm sense of community, like you were saying, and the fact that there's always something going on a weekend.
Yeah.
You're never bored.
Right.
And the restaurants, the cafes, like the Wild Iris Cafe, that's my fave.
Yep.
Parlor House Bistro, best French food ever. So we love the food, we love the entertainment, and it just attracts good people too.
Yeah.
I got to tell you, because I think when you feel like you're on
I feel
vacation,
like it's kind of like a hidden gem,
Yeah.
A lot of people don't know about Dunedin.
It's kind of not that hidden anymore.
Because of good agents like yourself.
But you know what? The irony is that the population is like 36,000, but in 1990, the population was 35,000. It's only grown by 1,000 people.
Right. That's what I mean. It's a little bit of a hidden gem. It hasn't blown up that much.
It is, but we do have a lot of people though who come and stay, a lot of vacationers and stuff like that, especially, at this time of year we get a lot of snowbirds and stuff, but everyone's just so happy to be there that, you'll be sitting in the restaurant, the people next to you will just start up a conversation.
Right.
Hey, where are you from? Like in their New York accent and stuff. And like,
Would you say most of your business is local to Dunedin in that area, or
yes,
are you?
Yeah,
it is? Okay.
I do. I am very centered in Dunedin, Ozona, Clearwater, Palm Harbour, the North Pinellas.
Yeah.
I also love the beaches, Indian Rocks Beach, one of my faves.
Yeah.
I have team members who concentrate on different areas, so they have their own expertise, because I feel like I bring a lot of knowledge to the North Pinellas area, whereas I did get married again, and my husband is a realtor.
Oh, nice.
Joe
You
Toomey.
guys got a lot in common now, huh?
Yes, we do. He's amazing. He's
That's
the love
cool.
of my life. I'm so glad I found him.
Do you have stepkids now as well?
No.
Okay.
He just treats my daughters as his daughters, and
cool.
they love him too. And basically,
Did you meet him through Coastal?
I did.
Yeah.
We were like the first office romance.
That was the gossip, huh? The juicy office romance.
It is. It was really fun. And then I'm really great friends with Alex and Lauren, and they came to our wedding in Hawaii.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
They're good people. I've met them briefly. Years ago, we featured Katie Descharme.
Yeah.
She was in your office, wasn't she?
Yeah, she was, yeah.
She's not any longer, I believe, but I know at one point she was. And I think there was another agent too. Her name now escapes me, that we had featured from your brokerage.
Yes.
You guys have a great office right there
we do.
downtown Dunedin. It's that glass window, and everyone walks by it. And I know your location well.
It's great for my listings,
Yeah.
because thousands of people walk those streets every day.
No doubt.
And tap
Yeah.
on the window when
I'm
you're
sure you guys
inside,
love that.
or you can hear us at, oh, I like this one. Let's buy this house.
That's right.
So it's fun. It's good.
Let's talk. I want to go back a little bit to when you first got licensed. You said it was 2013-ish.
Yes.
And what was that first year or two like for you? And learning a new business, still living in a country. I guess you had been in America now for about 7 years or so you were already fairly adjusted, I would imagine. But do you remember those early times? Like, was there a lot of struggles in the beginning there? Did things kind of click for you pretty quickly? How did that go?
I was really, really lucky that things clicked for me pretty quickly. Like I just felt that this was what I was supposed to be doing at this time of my life. Like when I lived in San Diego, I would stage houses for agents.
Okay.
When I wasn't at preschool, and because I just love making things beautiful. And
As like an interior designer business you had, or a staging business? Okay.
And it was just small and ran it from my home, and so I would just help agents, even if it was declutter, move around furniture, feng shui principles, all that sort of stuff. So I had already been doing that in San Diego, and I was absolutely loving it. So when I got my license, that was something that I wanted to bring to my clients.
Yeah.
Because not everybody can walk into a house and see what needs to be done.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that made me a little bit special because I could do that. But
And that seems like that fits kind of the vibe with Coastal
Yes.
as well, right? Like they're very upper scale, high, like interior design-esque. Like even the office has that vibe to it.
It does.
Yeah.
And the thing with Coastal too is that everything is first class, like, professional photography, video, the presentation of our offices, the standard of the agents, because it's an invitation only. You can't just say, hey, I want to hang my license.
Right.
You've got to be invited to work there. And so you've got to prove to Alex and Lauren that you can sell and that you can play well with others.
Yeah.
That's really important
makes
in real
sense.
estate.
Did you join Coastal right away, or did that come years later?
No, I was with Prudential, which then became Berkshire Hathaway.
Yep.
And I was with them for like 15 months.
Okay.
And the broker had mentioned there was this new company,
Nice.
Coastal Properties Group. And so I thought, because
So it's been a while now. You've been there almost 10 years. Is that a fair assumption?
Oh, I was there April 2015.
Okay. So you're coming up 8 years or so.
Yeah. But the thing is too, at the beginning, like I got my license, I started working in September 2013. By Christmas, I closed 2 properties. At that point for $700,000, and I was like, okay. And then my business just started growing, and I had buyers and I had listings, and I didn't really know what I was doing because I really didn't have the chance to get the experience, and I wasn't on a team.
Was it all just through your own personal network?
Yes.
Did you have other strategies as to how you got your listings?
I wasn't afraid to knock on doors.
Okay.
And so I farmed my neighborhood. And finally, one of the ladies in my neighborhood let me sell her house.
Nice.
And I sold it for 70,000 more than what the other agents were selling for in our neighborhood, because I knew our neighborhood was undervalued.
Yeah.
And once I sold that house, then everyone was like, wow,
she knows what she's doing.
She can sell our house. And so I was doing things a lot differently to other agents.
That's cool.
So it made me stand out.
What are some of the things you think you did differently?
Well, firstly, I show my own properties. I don't do lockbox.
Okay.
If there's a lockbox, that's for me to get in, not to lose the key.
Yeah. That's cool.
So
I like that.
I'm there to show my properties. Once again, right from the get-go, I did professional photography. I do videos. I know my properties. And when I do my listings, everything is on it. It's not like agents or buyers have to think, well, what's this, what's that? I mean, I put everything on there as much as I can. Honesty in disclosure, extremely important, because people don't want unhappy surprises.
For sure.
So this, just coupled with, when people come to see the house, obviously I'm very welcoming, hey, I'm your neighbor.
Yeah. I have to imagine the accent helps too, right?
It does. Well,
That's a conversation starter.
It does. It's like, oh, wow, where are you from?
Absolutely.
I'm like, oh, I grew up in Australia.
Yeah, no doubt.
Oh, I've always wanted to go to Australia.
And we love Australian accents too. There's something sweet about it. So.
Well, right now
especially on attractive women,
Oh, you're so sweet. Oh my God. But I'm just getting over a cold now, so I kind of have like that little Demi Moore-esque.
Oh, there you go.
On it as well.
Yeah.
But
well, I think we mentioned Australia earlier, and do you go back often? Is it something that you do with the family, or
I do. I try to go back every couple of years at Christmas to see my family. My mom still lives there. She just overcame stage 4 cancer.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Good
She's
for her.
cancer-free.
Nice.
So,
Congrats.
with a lots
Congrats
of
to her, Mom.
Yay, Mom.
Yeah.
So, she's a fighter, that woman. Her oncologist literally called me and said, if you don't come over, if you don't get vaccinated and come over and see your mother, you'll never see her again.
Wow.
And then 3 years later.
That's a call nobody wants to get.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And 3 years later, I go over and, because Australia was freaking crazy with
the lockdown.
COVID and the lockdowns.
Yeah.
It was frightening.
Yeah.
For someone who was in the Australian Army, what they got the army to do was patrolling the streets.
Right.
And I was horrified.
It's like a Nazi state, huh?
It was horrible. And all my friends are like, what's going on in Australia? And I'm like, I don't know. And I'd be on Facebook Messenger with my friends. What's going on in Australia? So I couldn't go home for 3 years. So finally, when I did go home, my mom... And I went to that oncologist's office, and I'm sitting in there and looking at her scan, and she's completely cancer-free.
That's awesome.
And
Answers to a lot of prayer, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah. She has very strong faith, and so do I. I had the nuns praying. I had my whole church praying.
That's awesome.
Anyone who would listen praying for
prayer
her.
works.
Prayer, absolutely. I believe strongly in the power of prayer.
Yeah, amen. I do too. So that's, again, shout out to Mom. Glad you're feeling better, and hopefully she'll be around for many more years to come.
Absolutely. So. Oh, yeah, she's a tough old stick. She's going to...
I'm sure she loves that. A tough old stick. That's an Australian term, isn't it?
Obviously.
That's neat. So the types of people that you serve on the real estate world, are they a lot of foreign investors? Do you work just with mostly Americans that are just looking for a beautiful property in Dunedin? Do you have a certain niche there in terms of buyers or sellers?
No. Most of my business is actually referral. I'd say 90% of it, like people who I've already worked with before, who have referred me to their friends or their family, and in a lot of cases now, their children. I'm helping them find properties because, I've built up a lot of trust because people know that when they're working with me that I'm going to be completely honest and upfront. I don't sugarcoat anything. These are the pros, these are the cons. helping people make a decision is what my job is giving them the information. Now, if they don't have the negatives, how are they ever going to make a positive
Sure.
and correct? And I think a lot of people find that refreshing.
I would agree. Did you say 90% of your business is referral based?
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome. And you mentioned earlier that you had your best year ever this past year,
Correct,
which, as I mentioned before, and that was like 18 million, I think you said, in terms of volume. And I think from what I saw, that was close to say 35 to 40 transactions in that ballpark somewhere.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's a lot of transactions to be 90% coming from referrals, right? Like most people don't, even if they get referrals, maybe it's a handful or so every year,
right?
Not 35 to 40 of them, so you've definitely done some things really well on that referral side to have that be such a strong pipeline.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, once people trust you and they know that your intentions are for them, they want that for their family and friends too.
Of course.
So that's how it works. And I really do believe in quality over quantity. So if I start getting a lot of business, which is wonderful, I have a team. And like I said, they all specialize.
When did you start growing the team?
The team kind of grew me.
Nice. So was that a necessity where you just felt like you needed some help?
Yeah. I really needed to be in two places at one time, especially since I show my own listings.
Right.
That can be really hard because I want to make sure that I can just drop everything and, meet the buyer's requirements and be there. So I needed to be able to be in two places at one time. And my best friend, she had her license and she was working in another company and she wasn't happy. So I said, well, come and join my team. So she came over and joined my team. And then another really close friend, I was actually both their daughters' preschool teachers.
Nice.
So they trusted me with their children.
Yeah.
So that's the first thing.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So obviously coming to work for me was an easy choice because I already knew my character.
Yeah.
And
how many agents do you have on the team now?
I have Jill and Heather, which were the first two that came over. Now my husband, Joe Toomey.
Okay.
And now my daughter, Sophie Kloppel.
So it's really like keeping it in the family. So you have close Are you actively recruiting to try to grow the team, or do you kind of just take it more organically, whoever comes based on a relationship? I just take organically.
Yeah. It's if somebody approaches me and they're interested in being on my team, I love to mentor and help people. So I would be happy to do that. But
makes sense.
But it has to be a fit. I don't want somebody to come onto the team and think, oh, she's just going to keep giving me leads.
Right.
I want to train them to get their own leads, to be self-sufficient.
Learn them how to self-sufficient. Yeah. Makes sense. I think that's what a good team leader does from the people that we've had a pleasure of interviewing. I think that's a very important trait, actually. You don't want them to be completely reliant just on you always feeding the beast, right? Exactly. I want them to be able to get their own leads and grow their own business. I want them to be successful too. Absolutely. And even if that means that eventually, they'll break away but that's fine. At least they've, the training that they've got is based on ethics and honesty and, good work practices. Totally. No, I love it. It makes sense. And I think there's different ways that people go about team building, right? Yes. We've interviewed people on the show that have hundreds of agents in their organization, whether they're a broker or even a big team leader, and they have a machine of recruiting that comes and goes, and they've implemented good systems and it works for them. Yeah. And then there's others like yourself that have a team of maybe 3 or 4 agents or even 1 or 2 sometimes, but it's more of like a close knit, we're in this together, arms locked, and it just makes it, I think, more fun for some of those agents to really feel like they can give back. And then some people don't want to have a team at all. Yeah. And it is what it is. Yeah. Right. So I think you got to find your niche. It's one of the cool things about real estate is there's so many different paths that you can take to be fulfilled and enjoy your business. Right. Yeah, absolutely. And you mentioned earlier, oh, sorry, go ahead. Oh, sorry. It's a passion. It truly, and it has to be a passion of service, because if you're in it just for the money, it's not genuine. People are going to know. Yeah. If you're in it to actually serve others, which is how I live my life, then people know that this is coming from the heart, that this is genuine. Totally. And one of the things I've always said, like, people are like, why do you do this? And I realized probably about 3 years ago when I was,
when you have a milestone birthday, you kind of look back and think, okay, what did I do over the last 10 years? And the one thing that I realized is when you make other people's dreams come true, your dreams come true.
Yeah.
And I look at all
that's
the
an old
blessings.
quote from, I think, is it Napoleon Hill or one of those old
I thought it was
geniuses?
like a Disney princess or something.
There's a quote out there that says to be successful, in order to be successful, most successful people are focused on helping other people be successful.
Yes.
And the more that you help people be successful, the more successful you'll become.
That's right.
Zig Ziglar. There you go. That's
Thank
the guy
you.
I was thinking of. So he's old school OG in the self-development camp. And that was one of his famous quotes. Yeah.
Wow. I kind of just manipulated it.
You just
and
took it
kind of
naturally. Yeah.
Stole it from him, but it was.
But it's so true. It is very true. Because, I mean,
really
people don't
is.
want to work with someone who's in it just for their own purposes and reasons. And they can always feel that and flush that out. Yesterday, we ran a panel actually at Whiskey Cake. You do them every month over there for agents. And your daughter would be invited to come as a licensed agent. It's an only event we run. Most of our events are private just for top 500 producers. But this panel we run on the third Thursday every month, so I'll do a quick plug, are open for any agent to come to. And our goal is to have top producers like yourself on the panels every month, which we do. And our topics are all on our website, tampabayrealproducers.com. And yesterday's topic was on how to have your best year ever. We had Jeffrey Borum from EXP as one of the panelists. But anyway, I bring it up because we were talking about how money is just an outcome. It can't be the motivation, right?
Correct.
Like if you do things with the right systems, the right processes, and the right heart in place, as you mentioned, being a servant, in your case, the money is just a byproduct of doing those things correctly. And I think a lot of people get that confused, right? They focus on the money first rather than the money, not even really just letting that flow.
That's right. Because a lot of people, they'll ask me, wow, I want to be a realtor. I want to make lots of money and stuff like that. How do I get in? How do I do this? And the first thing I tell them is that it's not about the money.
Not the right focus, yeah.
And also, there's a lot to it. Like every transaction is different.
Right.
Every situation is different. You have to have skills. You got to be a problem solver.
Right.
Like the wonderful thing
You mean it's not just walking through pretty homes all day?
I actually had an agent who wanted to join my team. That's all she wanted to do was look pretty and show houses.
Right.
And then get it to close. And I remember asking her if she could go and put some signs out for me, and she's like, "No." And I'm like, excuse me?
This might not work.
Excuse me?
This might not work.
What do you mean? No.
Yes.
She goes, I just want to show the house. And I'm like, no.
Right.
So I was like, well, this isn't going to work.
Yeah.
Because, real estate
Takes
is
work.
hard
It's a business.
work.
Yeah.
And it's like 24/7. Like when I get an agent who I get their answering machine and it says, well, if you're calling during the business hours of 9 and 5, and I'm like, business hours? We don't have business hours.
That's
there
right.
are no. The business hours are 24 hours.
This isn't corporate America. You're running a business here that's always open.
This is it. So people don't understand that. Firstly, it's a 7-day, 24-hour commitment that you have to be there for your clients. One of the things that in my reviews, everyone always says, answers her phone. Answers her text, is always there for me. That communication is key.
Yep.
So if you're not a good communicator, real estate's not for you.
And that's how you build the brand that allows you to get a referral business, like you said, that's generating 30 to 40 deals a year off of referrals. Like that doesn't happen naturally, right?
That's it.
It happens with intentionality, which you've obviously done very well. I want to bring up the American Dream TV because you mentioned that before as well. And this is a new thing I've heard that you're involved with. So why don't you tell a little bit about that? How did that happen? And what are you excited about with it?
Well, I was approached by American Dream TV to come and audition, and I was really skeptical because everyone's always trying to sell real estate agents.
Yeah.
They're trying to sell the sellers.
Right. I get it.
So I was like, I don't know.
A lot of agents think they have to pay to be in our magazine.
Oh, wow.
Which is not true.
Yes.
To get that out there, like we're not selling anything to you guys as agents. We do have a consulting program that, honestly, in all openness, is a package that we sell for agents if they want that. In order to kind of work with top producers, and we have an online course and other things to help agents grow. but no way do you have to pay anything to be featured by us. But you're totally right about how there's a lot of things out there that are just focused on trying to sell something to agents.
Yes.
And so American Dream TV contacted you.
Yep, they contacted me, and they had obviously been through my profiles and looked at my sales and stuff like that, and saw how passionate I am about the city of Dunedin, that I love with all of my heart, which is also, let's remember, where our governor was born and raised.
I didn't know that. DeSantis
he's a Dunedin boy.
I did not know that. Yeah, that's cool.
So, so I went to the audition. I thought, well, I'll go and listen. And anyway, they chose me to be the host of American Dream TV Dunedin.
That's awesome.
So I made my first episode last week.
Nice.
And I showcased a beautiful home that's just within the city limits of Dunedin. Because when people buy in Dunedin, they want to be able to walk downtown or golf cart downtown. They want to have that Dunedin experience. So the home I showcased was stunning. And in 1939, it was a bungalow meets ranch kind of property. It's absolutely gorgeous.
Nice.
And then I interviewed the GM of my favorite, the Fenway.
Yeah, I love that place. I told you off camera, we do some of our real producer events there. The
Let
views,
me know.
The sunsets are gorgeous.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I prayed so hard for sunshine because we were finishing up at the bar. And at the end, it was going to be the sunset, which was at the end of my piece. And so I prayed so hard for sunshine, and, thank you, God. It was a beautiful sunset, because every day before it, and then every day after, was just cloud and rain.
Right.
The day before was when we had all of those storms and high winds and stuff.
When you get the right sunset up there, it's probably one of the best views in all of Tampa Bay. Yeah,
and
beautiful.
The Fenway just has such an incredible history, and I'm a bit of a history buff. My house was built in 1922.
Nice.
It was the Heinz family winter home, Heinz Ketchup.
Oh, wow.
So so I live in a part of history.
Very neat.
Well.
Yeah, no doubt. I love that. And the Fenway, you're right, does have a ton of history just with that hotel. It's been up there forever. And they've remodeled it multiple times, but it is gorgeous. If you're in that area, you should definitely check it out.
Yeah, so for my next one, though, I'd love to have a waterfront property, because I want to take my boat and, show, because we're a waterfront community, it's a coastal city. So that's what I'm planning for my next.
So with American Dreams, you generally show a property and then interview a local business owner. Is that part of the model?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's not like, oh, this is the address, this is how much it's worth. It's more lifestyle and culture.
Right.
So the reason that I chose that house is because it really fits the vibe of Dunedin.
Yep.
And it happens to be my listing, which is also fabulous, because now my clients, they're going to get 40 million plus views.
Yeah, no doubt.
And stuff.
Makes sense.
And
do they have different agents that represent all different cities all throughout Tampa Bay? Because I know I've talked to a couple other agents who have been affiliated with them in St. Pete or some other area.
Yep, they do. They have one in St. Pete Beach. There's one who does Indian Rocks.
Yep.
So they focus on different areas.
Right.
And but me, to have the opportunity to represent my city, I'm like, oh yes, please.
Yeah, no doubt. It makes sense.
It does.
It's awesome.
It does. It's
such
really
a great city
exciting.
too, so it's a good fit.
It is.
We're running out of time, but I want to at least do a couple rapid fire questions.
I'm ready.
To get the audience to get to know you a little bit more if they haven't met you before. This is more personal stuff in terms of, do you have a favorite movie or TV show?
I watch Sister Wives.
Sister Wives. Okay. I've never seen it. I have no idea even what it is. I don't even think I've heard of it, to be honest.
My daughter's got me into that,
Is that a streaming thing on one of the apps?
No, I think it's on TLC.
Okay.
And it's basically about this guy, Cody Brown, who's a polygamist. He had 3 wives, and he brought another.
Mormons?
Well, yeah, extremist Mormons. And he brought another wife in, and she became the favorite wife. And now That's the only wife he has.
Gotcha.
So, but it's like it
She
starts
won,
off like a train wreck, and you kind of watch it for that reason, but then you get into it. So
Yes.
that's kind
So
of
you like that reality TV stuff, huh?
I do.
It's all right.
Well, just
A lot of people do,
occasionally.
or else there wouldn't be so many of them out there. I mean,
this
there's
is it,
there's an
and-
endless option, I feel like, nowadays.
And my daughter, my youngest, that was my oldest daughter who got me into that years ago, and then my youngest daughter got me into The Bachelor, and I just finished watching The Golden Bachelor Wedding.
Oh, I have seen the promos for that. I have not watched any episodes, but I have seen the promos for it.
But I just like things like that, just because I don't have to think.
Yeah, relax. It entertains you, right?
It's entertaining.
We all need that in our lives.
That's it.
See, for me, I was telling Rob before, I had to subscribe to Peacock now to watch football. I'm a big sports fan, so that's my main thing is sports. But when I was a kid, I used to like watching wrestling in like the 80s with Hulk Hogan, which is funny because a lot of these wrestlers live here in Tampa Bay. Hulk Hogan, Ric Flair, a lot of these famous names in the wrestling world. And so they have all of the old matches from all the 80s and 90s on Peacock. And I've been streaming it, probably staying up later than I should watching some of these old wrestling things lately. But nothing that's really helping me, but it's good just to relax sometimes, right? And unwind.
See, that wouldn't be me. So.
Yes, I figured. A little different than Sister Wives, for sure.
Just a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit. I was going to say, do you have a favorite book or author or even like a seminar maybe, or even a podcast that has made an impact on you personally or professionally?
I really don't have a lot of time to read. So when I do, it's nonfiction or, like self-help, that type of thing, like Staying Sane in an Insane World. That was the coach who helped Tom Brady, and that book I found very empowering.
That's cool.
In fact, so much so.
I haven't read it. Staying Sane in an Insane World. I like the title.
Yes, and I've actually given that to a few friends to read and say, look, this is really going to help. It allows you to focus, listen to your self-talk and don't be ruled by it.
Totally.
And stuff. So another one is Shazad. He does we all have different intelligences, but we also have like a judge and saboteurs and stuff like that. So that gets into
different prototypes, kind of.
Yeah,
psychologically.
Psychologically.
Yeah.
Once again, that self-talk.
Yep.
Because sometimes when you're doubting yourself, it could be your judge just saying, you can't do that.
We all have that inner voice, don't we?
Yeah, we do.
That inner critic that constantly tells us we're doing something wrong and trying to hold us back, and that fear-based critic. Yeah.
So both of those, the positive intelligence with Shazad and the Stay Sane in an Insane World, that basically it helps you just, okay, yeah, no, that's not right.
Totally.
Okay, so I'm talking to myself. But the thing is, I do it at home when no one can see.
We all do it.
Some people don't
Even
think
if
I'm crazy.
The voice that you're hearing right now in your head is the voice we're talking about, right? So
That's the voice.
That's the voice. That's the one we're talking about. Yeah, we all have it.
I like to do things like that, and then I can share that with others, because a lot of times, I'll be able to help somebody else because I better understand how this works myself.
Totally. Yeah, I'm a huge fan. I've attended a lot of Tony Robbins events over the years, and he speaks a lot about that voice and the psychology of that whole of our brain and how we think and where the effects that has, our belief systems, a lot of that. And so I've done some work in that space, and it's really that's a lot of times where success starts, right? Is understanding how to be able to learn and be aware of what's really controlling our habits and
correct, and
all
knowing
of those
that you can
things.
do it,
Totally.
and your psychology towards your approach to real estate, to sport, to relationships,
Totally.
is all based on what you think of yourself.
Yep, I couldn't agree more. Do you have a favorite food? Is there something in Australia that you just love? Isn't here?
Meat pies.
Meat pies.
Well, a meat pie is kind of like pastry with like a savory meat inside.
I've had them here before.
Yeah, there was the Kane's Cafe used to sell them. She was Australian, but she sold the cafe, and I was like, well, where am I going to get my meat pies? So I've attempted to make some, and not as good as the originals back home.
Have you found a place locally that can do them just as well as Australia?
Well, yeah. Well, Kane's Cafe did,
They do.
but she sold her business. So, but That's
another
love,
business idea for you now.
yeah.
Not that you're busy enough, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Right.
thank you, Don. Just give me something else to do. But
Let your daughter take over the real estate, and you could start making meat pies.
yeah, I could. And really good
When
coffee.
you do, let me know, and we'll do a show there, and I'll jump by and test it out for you.
But definitely, I love, I love sushi, and I love curries. Indian food.
There's a cool sushi restaurant in
very
Dunedin
healthy.
too.
Yes,
I know I've eaten there before. I forget the name of it now, but it's right downtown there.
Pisces.
That's it, Pisces.
And
yeah.
we also
It's a cool
like
spot.
Blue Sake as well. That's got
They have
really
good live music there too.
Yeah, yeah. So we've got some, and there's another restaurant too, Yum Tum Thai, I think it's called, on Patricia. We've got a lot of amazing restaurants.
Again, it's a great
Dunedin.
town. It really
Yeah.
is. If you haven't checked out Dunedin, hopefully from anything in this conversation, that
Yes.
might be something to do. Go knock on Marina's window
Yeah,
and
pretty
check
much.
out Dunedin.
Yeah.
Go to grab your husband, grab your wife, grab your boyfriend, grab your girlfriend, and go have a dinner there. You won't be disappointed for sure.
Absolutely.
We're gonna end with what I call the legacy question,
Yes.
which is one to get you to think. So at some time, you might sit back on that rocking chair, Marina, and you might be done selling real estate as aggressively as you are now. What do you think would be most important for you to be remembered by? What would you want that legacy to be, personally or professionally, when that time comes?
Well, I will be selling real estate when I'm 89, 90, just because I
love that
it
attitude. Why
so
quit, right?
much. Just especially when people, they're renters and you're giving them the keys to their house.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter whether I'm the listing agent or the buying agent. Giving renters their property is heartwarming. That's one of the favorite things I do.
That's cool.
But I think what I want to just be remembered for is just acts of kindness. Like, I truly believe in random acts of kindness, being kind to others, that it has a ripple effect of positivity. And we need that more than anything these days.
I agree.
So I think what I'd be remembered for is just being very kind and rescuing dogs and children.
Nice. Those are two good extremes as well.
Yes.
But I love that random acts of kindness is something that I don't know if I've heard yet on the show. And so it's such a simple thing, but I mean, if you do enough of it, it can be very, very powerful. So I think that's a great legacy to have for sure. We're going to put a bow on the episode. I'm sure we'll have to have you back sometime. I feel like we can talk for more if we have more time. But Marina, it was a pleasure to chat with here today. And we always end our episodes with a challenge to the audience, whether you're watching live stream right now on any of our platforms or you're just watching an episode or hearing us on any of your favorite podcast platforms. What is one action step that you can take from this conversation that's going to move you forward personally or professionally? And if you do that action step, then the time that you invested in this is going to be worth it. There's a lot of psychological studies out there that say if you don't take action, you're just never going to, right? And so it could be, going to Dunedin, just having a great dinner there. It could be having a conversation with Marina. And I forgot to ask you, but if somebody wanted to reach out to you, just pick your brain, what's the best way for someone to connect with you, Marina?
Well, the best way to get a hold of me is through my cell phone. As you know, I always answer my phone. Text is always the best because I see it instantaneously. And my phone number, my cell, is 858 382 7499. 858 382 7499.
Awesome. We'll
Still
get
have
that up
my
on
San
the
Diego
description
number.
too. Yeah, kept it there. Huh? I have
Yep,
my Connecticut
since
one too, so I can
2003.
relate.
Yeah.
It's too easy to drop. But as I was saying, I would encourage all of you to take an action step. I wrote down some things from our conversation. It's impressive in terms of how Marina has built her referral business. Maybe it's random acts of kindness that you want to also apply to your life and your business. Maybe you need to think about how you can incorporate some referral programs into your business a little bit more powerfully, like Marina has done. There's a lot of different angles that we dove into, but take an action step that's going to help you move forward. And if you do, then like I said, this time will be worth it. We will see you on the next episode of Tampa Bay Rural Producers. Stay classy. We'll see you then.